Hey, I'm Weekend Gabe, and you're checking out Weekend at Gabe's, and thanks for checking out this latest episode. While you're here, also follow us on these social medias at Weekend Gabe, at Weekend at Gabe's, and also at The Real Sam Crane. Thanks for checking us out.
All right, let's get to our next guest. She is based out of Chicago, but right now she is circling all around the world. She was in Arizona, and then now she's in LA. And also, she just has a wonderful record EP that's out there as well. It's quite a pleasure to introduce Queen Mars to the show, Weekend at Gabe's exclusive. How are you?
What's up? I'm great. How are you?
Doing
I'm
good.
good.
Yeah.
The EPs, Trust Issues EPs out there. You also just dropped the S.E.X single as well. So you've been working in 2021. But I gotta,
yeah.
but I'm gonna kick off with a little bit of beef. Sam and I talked about this during the pre-show.
Yo, okay.
Yeah.
I got a little squabble with you, right?
With me?
Yeah, with you. Definitely you. But no, check it out. So, Boys Like You, I love the record. I want to ask you about working with Austin Nobles. He's a friend of the show.
Yeah.
But if he wrote this, I got problems with him. But if you wrote it, then the problem is with you. All right. So, the opening line. Guess I had a thing for men with Corollas.
You probably drive.
You'll never guess what Gabe drives. You'll never guess what Gabe drives.
Toyota Corolla Series S. The type to hit it, but would never get to know you. First off, I'm a Virgo. I'm sensitive. I want to get to know everyone.
Yeah, but okay. Listen. You're a Virgo sun, but I got to see the rest of your chart before I can actually say if you are a sensitive person.
Oh yeah, I mean, have you seen any of the pre-show? It's all tearsing.
Yeah, sometimes I make Weekend Gabe cry with my line of questioning. Yeah, he's a very sensitive person.
Well, I didn't mean to offend you, but if the shoe fits, then
listen.
I've never met someone who wasn't a fuckboy who drove a Corolla, so I'm just saying.
Well, if the shoe fits.
Listen, like blood moons, sometimes they do pop out. But you did get part of it right, because I do like going to the AMC and buy my date a popcorn and drink and then slide to the back seat. But I do phone later on to see make sure that they got home okay.
Well, that's the most important thing.
Did you get home okay? You good? I'll call you tomorrow. And
Appreciate
then I
that.
usually do calls. So
it's really the small things.
Listen, I haven't been in the dating game for a long time, so I know with this record, there's a lot about that relationships. Yeah. And so one of my questions is, because you talk about this in depth about like sort of being engaged in a relationship, and then it sort of turns sour, kind of like on Boys Like You. Does the dating apps help or hurt building relationship or trying to develop a relationship?
I cannot with these dating apps. I don't even have. I have had them. I can't do it. But it's honestly, I think for dating apps, it might be a me thing. Like it might be just me, because I feel like literally if I match with you and you don't immediately like let's meet up or something, like if you're trying to text me for like a week before, like I'm bored by then. Like I don't want to see you at that point. It's just, but also it just doesn't make sense to me how like I don't know you, but like the only thing you have to ask me is how's your day? How is your that's it. Like we've never met. You can't come up with anything more creative. Like you are one of a bunch of men. Just how was your day? I have to answer that 10 times every single day just to like get taken out on a date. I can't do that. So no, it doesn't help, because no, not my thing.
Well, one of the things that you've been doing, at least this year, is you've been bouncing around the country. So at least there's some different pools of men to choose from.
Still trash.
Still trash. Okay, fair enough.
We really ain't shit, by the way. But go ahead.
I know you spent a good amount of the pandemic down in Arizona, but obviously you got a strong base here in Chicago, and you've now made the move to sunnier pastures in Los Angeles. You've been there for about 2 months?
Yeah, about 2 months.
How are you finding the LA area? What's the biggest difference to you between being in Chicago and being on the West Coast?
So, have y'all been to LA?
I love LA. I was just in LA 2 weekends ago.
Where do you stay at in LA when you
Uh,
come visit?
I stay with my good friend John in the in Simi Valley, so it's just over the hills from Calabasas.
Oh, okay. It sounds nice. That's what it
It's
sounds like.
trust me, it's not that nice, but shout out to John. He does have a nice couch, so he lets me sit.
LA is like one of the craziest places I've ever been. Like there are so many crazy people out here. I cannot like it's wild.
More than Chicago? That seems odd.
You would like I didn't think that the level of crazy that I've come across in LA, I did not think that it existed, but like out here it is something else. Lots of very like just a lot of strong energy, I will say. Very kind of polarizing.
Can you define strong energy, or are you going to refrain from that?
Well, like okay, for instance, strong energy in a way that I feel like someone would like hit me with their car just because they've had a bad day. Like I feel like someone would catch a body just because they had a stressful day at work. Like I feel like this is the place that would happen. I also like on literally at like 6:30 in the morning, I've seen like garbage cans on fire just like randomly. Like this place is it's like Gotham City here. It's like it's wild. Like it's oh my goodness. Yeah. It takes some getting used to, that's what I will say. I've heard it gets better, but like literally everyone that I've talked to says the same thing. Like their first couple months is like rough. They're just like that place is crazy.
Word. Well, that's gonna put me off moving to LA for at least another 2 years. I think I'll put it off.
I mean, if you're staying in Calabasas,
No,
not
not Calabasas. I promise you, it's not Calabasas where I'll be at.
Yeah.
No, I think it's funny. It's like so it gets better instead of 3 trash cans on fire. Like better is like 1 trash can is now on fire. When you wake up.
Yeah, like something like that. I have also had like so when I first got here, I had a Vespa and that shit got stolen. And then I found it 2 days later.
Nice.
Like without the battery. Of course, they took that shit. And then it just recently got stolen again. Like this place is so shitty. Like, it's Christmas, and they took my Vespa.
Hey, somebody got a brand new Vespa for Christmas, and and to that person, I say good day. You know
exactly.
Are you gonna be able to sort of transfuse that big energy of LA into music your way, or are you starting to feel any energy or vibe that is able to translate to your current state of living?
Right, I know, like my current state of living. Like, are you okay?
Like, that's what we want to know here on this show. This is really just a therapy check-in. Yeah,
please get me a ticket back to Chicago.
Listen. They don't take your Vespa. They just take you and the Vespa. So.
No, I definitely have still been able to make music while I'm out here. It definitely has influenced it, I think, but not in like a bad way at all. Like it's just like a way you have to channel that energy somehow. So
right.
You know, I can't be holding on to that.
Word. So the latest single that's out, S.E.X. The video is fantastic. I believe that's self-produced by you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fantastic visuals with the retro Powerpuff Girl inspirations. Talk about your vision for that video when you made the song. Was it always that idea with the Powerpuff cuts and pearls?
Yeah, so I really just like so the song was kind of inspired by like the intro to Powerpuff Girls, and so like I definitely wanted to incorporate that within the video. Like really I was just trying to create like a visualizer. Like it wasn't like something super where I'm like this needs to tell a story. It's just like no, like let me just get these cool shots and then tie it into you know, that intro so that like people kind of know that I'm referencing it within the song.
What does the visualizer sort of add? So for people who don't do music, I guess, what does the visualizer add that is sort of similar, but maybe less than on production value than a full-on music video with a storyline? And
yeah, so like, I mean, I think it's important with any like music drop nowadays for you to have some visual element. And so it's just one of those things that if you're not like ready to release a actual video for it, or you don't even plan to release it at all, you still need to have like some kind of visual element so that like just people like putting visuals with music. And so it's just important for you to release something. And for this song, like it was actually kind of part of a personal challenge for myself. What happened was, to tie it back to LA.
Story time, let's go.
To tie it back to LA, I was supposed to move to LA in like August or something of this year. And what I was doing was renting an Airbnb for like the first couple of months that I got here, so I can kind of get a feel for the area before I went and like signed a lease for an apartment. And a week before I was supposed to move there, my Airbnb canceled on me because of like the COVID spikes, and they didn't want like anybody in their houses. So like I was just like kind of blown, but I was just depressed. And I was like, damn, like I had this big move planned and now I don't have anything to do. I was just like, all right, let me like just write, produce and release a song within like a month. And so like that's the song I had literally written, produced it myself, and then released.
So it's sort of like a self-challenge for you before you went to LA, like a gauntlet you created for yourself. I love
exactly. It's kind of just like, it's kind of just something to do. Like I needed like a project to work on to get my mind off the fact that I wasn't going to be moving to LA when I thought I would.
Word.
What are the challenges of producing yourself? Like what are some things that you realize? Because obviously working with a collaborator, someone to sort of bounce ideas off, may seem fun or even, good for the better of the record. But when when you're controlling all the master controls, well, what are some of the challenges that come with that?
Well, I think because I'm pretty like new to producing, that one of my challenges is just understanding the different instruments and like what different instruments I need to create like certain sounds, and the like knowing which kind of like which kick sounds the best. It's kind of just like one of those things where it's like it's a lot of experimentation right now, as opposed to like there's a little bit of more validation when you work with like another person because you both have ears on it. Like sometimes I don't know if I'm just being like biased and think it's like good when it's not. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it sounds fantastic. So I think you did a fantastic job on that. Well, I was going to mention that just to circle back to the single itself, is that I know you grew up like sort of in a conservative household, but then there was this balance. I think it was your father who was also like into soul records, so you kind of had the Christian music and then also the soul sound as well. So you were able to grow on both sides of that fence. But I imagine that for the conservative side of your family listening to some of these records, what has been their feedback, or has there been any feedback to those?
Well, my shit is under a moniker for a reason. Like you can't search my name and find any of that stuff. So like that's one thing. Like two, like I've kind of always been not necessarily like rebellious, I don't think the word would be, but just like outspoken. And so I don't think that like, I think my family kind of realizes that I don't really listen to anybody. Like they just kind of let me do what I want to do because they know I'm going to do it anyways.
Right.
And so, yeah, like I don't really have too much like negative feedback from them. Like my mom like doesn't really understand my music, but she's also like the one who's like, you shouldn't use the word bitch because it is demeaning to women. Like my mom doesn't talk like that at all, but like that's
I'm
what
gonna
she
send
sounds
your
like to
mom this
me.
interview. She's gonna police it. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me. But like that's kind of like her like I guess her thought process. But at the same time, she's just like, yeah, but you know, you're your own person. You're gonna make your own decisions. So like I just don't share it. Like that's the bottom line is I just don't send it to them. And they know that like they can look it up on their own. I don't care. Like I'm really not trying to hide it, but I'm just
Sure.
like, don't tell me shit though. Like don't try to if you go looking for it,
And they'd
then
be
you
mad,
just
right?
live with it. Like, yeah, don't try to come back to me and make me do something different. So I
Yeah.
have like that going for me.
Word. We talked a little bit about sort of the nomadic upbringing as well, from Arizona, Chicago to LA. And I know that you, I think you said in an Instagram post that you were sort of choosing between LA and New York, that you have a strong base in New York as well.
Mhm.
What do you feel like that adds to your creative process? Because there's an old Mark Twain quote that, you know, travel widens the soul, widens the mind.
Yeah.
One can't have full breadth of, you know, views of the world by staying in that one little hole for the whole time.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like that adds to your creative process?
I mean, I think that quote is like kind of a perfect description of how it feels to have like moved around a lot and traveled, is that I don't feel like I don't feel so like set on like one identity, you know, like because I feel like when you grow up in like maybe one area with like the same friends, you kind of like you don't really grow too much outside of that and you kind of become a product of your environment. And so when you're constantly moving from environments, it's kind of impossible to like do that. And so I feel like it does give me a little bit like larger of a palette to work with when it comes to like what I talk about or like the sounds I create because I don't like I'm not creating a sound from my hometown, you know, like I don't really
Right.
have a
Right.
hometown. So I'm just like picking and choosing different things that I've experienced and like creating my own kind of my
Yeah.
own little palette, you know.
Word.
What I love about the records and talk about the you had the song bitch, but throughout the record it's about really women empowerment and almost owning and protecting yourself, you know, from either, you know, physical or emotional harm. And I think that's it's quite a message that I think that needs to be said more at a louder frequency. But talk about like why that's important to include that into sort of your song structures, because it seems like there's always like a little bit of an element to take from each record about protecting yourself, but also like protecting your soul and your heart and making sure that no one is able to crush either.
Yeah, I don't think that it's necessarily something that I like think about too much when I'm like writing music. I think it just is kind of like a representation of like who I am and the certain things that I've been through. And it's like a lot of what I write is really just like a reflection of what I see or like what I've been through. Like I'm never really like trying to pander too much and be like, I'm gonna empower women, you know, it's just
Right.
really it's like, you know, I've been through this shit. This is how it made me feel. Like, here's a song that I wrote about it because I want to feel empowered by like my experiences and like me getting over it. So like it's my music is usually just like a reflection of that, you know?
Right.
On your website, you describe your genre as kaleidoscope pop. Could you
Mhm.
define that phrase for us?
Yeah. So like high visually, like I feel like when I try to create music, I like it to be kind of in a way of like I want my lyrics to kind of be standalone. Like if you were to just take away all of like the heavy production, because I tend to like produce like do a little
Yeah.
bit heavier production for my stuff. If you were to just strip all of that away, like the story still stands by itself. And so like structurally like of a kaleidoscope when you think of like the different patterns and stuff. Like for me, that's like the lyrics. And then because I like to experiment with my sounds and kind of create something that I feel is a little bit more like colorful in a sense, is like I like to have like a lot of textures. I kind of like like being overly stimulated with a lot of my music. Like visually, I just feel like that kind of spells out or looks like a kaleidoscope to me. And then I feel like my foundation really with how I write, even though like it's starting to change a little bit more, but like I feel like I have like a strong pop foundation of just like how I write hooks and like so it's like for me it's like kaleidoscope pop, but basically it means like I don't know what to call this shit. So like I don't want the expectation of saying like I'm this type of music and then like you expect me to create that all the time. I'm kind of like I kind of want to experiment, so I'm just gonna call this all this shit kaleidoscope pop, and like that'll be what I'm going for.
Word. Exactly. Word. You mentioned, I think, also on your homepage that you mentioned that you're in the midst of working on your full length debut album. So talk a little bit about
there you go, Gabe. Get to the meat and potatoes. We want the exclusives, Gabe. There you go.
Where are we at with the album? Is it still on track to drop next year?
Yes. It's currently being mixed right now.
Do we got a title? Do we got a title that you can share with us right now? My finger is on the air horn.
I don't want to say it because it's not like it hasn't been confirmed. Like I've kind of been bouncing between titles, and so shit might change again. But I will say that it's not like a regular LP. It's not like a
you heard it here first.
You were waiting for that.
Regular LP.
You were literally waiting. You had this shit ready to go. But like it's definitely like when you think of an album in like a traditional sense, it's not going to be that. So but I am excited. Like I am like working on some finishing touches and like some visuals that I'm wanting to shoot with it, and wish me luck. I would say like I'm most excited for like this project than I've ever been with like anything that I've kind of released.
Are there any guest spots that you can announce that are on that record?
There aren't any guest spots.
Hey, oh, it's just all no you. Features. All right. No features, everybody. That's what we doing. Solo Queen Mars tape. Yeah. Love to see it.
I do want to do some like I don't know exactly, like I don't have the full year planned out for next year, but I do want to like do a little bit more collaborations, and so like
hey, LA is the spot to do it. LA is the spot to do it. Gotta find your people though. That's key. All right.
Yeah.
So before we let you go, we like to ask a few fun questions. Gabe already got to the 2022 release question, so I'm gonna get to this one. Best Cartoon Network show growing up?
Powerpuff Girls.
Powerpuff Girls for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
That was an easy one. Hatred for Corollas. We've established this. But what is the dream car? And follow-up question to that. What is the car that your soulmate drives?
The car that my soulmate drives. Okay. I feel like my top car, and I'm like, that's a nice car. It's a Maserati. Like, those are nice. But see, don't hate me because I don't know that much about cars. And truly, I don't care to know that much about cars. Like, I just look at the one that looks nice, and I'm like, yeah, that's my shit.
That's the one.
I feel like my soulmate would probably drive like some kind of classic car, like a classic Mustang or something.
Oh, see, LA's the spot for that too.
Yeah,
LA is the spot for that too.
Yeah.
Last thing before we let you go, you have impeccable fashion sense, and we like to ask people with impeccable fashion sense on this show if they can increase Gabe's ability to wear nice clothes.
Yeah. If I can.
Do you have any tips for Weekend Gabe on the fashion level?
Yeah. I think you should start wearing fedoras. I heard that they are.
Ooh. Oh, that's a spicy topic because Gabe is very proud of his hair. He doesn't like to cover that up.
Like a fedora though. Like,
okay.
A fedora, maybe some suspenders.
Hey,
Listen, I'm trying to get my drip together for Weekend at Games 100. So I might have to take this into consideration.
What is your key item? Like, what is your brand? You know, like, are you cardigan wearing? Like, what is it? Polos? Like,
let's see. No,
you
I
have
was
to
thinking
have
of Weekend
a
at Gabe.
signature item to wear.
Mostly t-shirts and like khakis. That's it. You know, like
T-shirts and khakis.
and then like some
But we can't see your khakis when you're sitting down.
He's a real life Jake from State Farm, is what it is.
Dead ass, yeah. Listen, the suspenders and the fedora might like make my wife think that I was stepping out. So I might have to chill out. And I have to like incrementally get to that.
Yeah.
So that
Start wearing the suspenders now, and then buy yourself the fedora as a Christmas present.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why are you wearing suspenders on a Sunday? Like, that's weird. Practice. But yeah, those are all great tips. I will definitely consider that for Weekend at Games 100.
For sure.
Well, we appreciate you stopping through. Queen Mars joining us here on Weekend at Games. The latest EP, Trust Issues. She doesn't only carry men through trash dates, she also carries full-length albums on her own. Woo! Who else is doing it? Thank you so much for giving us your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah,
have a great holiday and great New Year.
Thank you. You too.
Queen Mars joining us here on Weekend at Games. I love it.
Incredible.
Listen, I got over the Corolla thing really quick because it wasn't really applying to me. But apparently, there's some dudes out there really giving the Corolla name a bad name. But you know, I'm one of the good ones. I'm just saying. I call, I check up, I send a text. You okay, girl? I just dropped you off. You inside? You doing good? All right.
Oh man.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad I don't have to date in 2021 because this shit is like OD crazy.
You still have the best hair on this show, so you know. Maybe there are prospects out there if you just start the suspenders in the fedora.
I have to imagine like there has to be like I've never filled out a dating app before, so it's like what is it like your pluses or things that you're happy about yourself, and just be like hair, and then like that's it.
Things that give me great self-confidence. This touch of gray that I got going on right here.
Yeah. I think Queen Mars is going to stick around and watch the show from the Grid Space. So
I hope so. We love it when people do that.
You could definitely hang out and stay with us. I won't kick you out.
Hey, I'm Weekend Gabe. Thanks for checking out this latest episode of Weekend at Gabe's. Click on any of the links swirling around my head and also hit the subscribe button while you're here. Thanks for checking out us here on YouTube.